Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another fantastic evening here at teamfortress.tv. This is I, TurboTabs, and I'm not alone. Before I go into any of the scuffles of what we're going through tonight, and before you even spoil it for yourself by looking at the stream right now, we've got Surny here in the co-caster room. How are we doing, Surny?
Hello. I'm doing fine. Looking forward to a wonderful, hopefully, game between some very nice teams here in this wonderful season of the ETF2L. It's the final matchup for the first week. These guys are a little late, aren't they?
Yeah, a little tad. But if everyone's wondering what they're late for, it's the wonderful winter wonderland, the winter of showdowns for 6v6 2013, the naming convention that keeps on changing here at ETF2L's Grando
13.
season.
Well, we went back 10 years. That's crazy.
Oh dear Lord! It's 2023. Excuse me. But ETF2L changing things up. But it is season 44 for all those old frogs out there that want to stick with that convention. And yeah, we're still in week one. We're still trucking along, and the final ones trucking in our back area will be Full Fence versus Swift. A matchup that should be kind of an interesting test here coming into it, Sonny. But before we get onto the teams, a big shout out to our production member Samus, who is going to be doing all the button pressing and showing other pretty pictures. Now, Surny, Full Fence versus Swift. Straight out of the gate, what should people know about this matchup? Is this like an actual good match we got going on here? Is this a dud? Who is everybody's eyes on in this match?
I mean, eyes are, for the most part, eyes are on Swift to prove themselves, right? They are coming up from a Div 1 win. They have most of their team, but they had a bit of a roster shakeup from the team that won Div 1, namely Mac departing for his own project team, who was, he was the main call. He was the core, the anchor of that team. And now that role has fallen upon either Yimpo, who's standing in on the demo role, or maybe Danny on the pocket. We'll have to see. I don't know exactly what their strategy is, right? So we'll have to see how they adjusted that. And then also they swapped out Warped for EDK off of the Duplo team from last season. So naturally you would assume for Swift to be the underdogs, right? They're the newcomers. Almost nobody on their team has any form of Prem experience. Like a lot of them are coming in fresh completely. And then some of them have at least a couple of seasons under their belt, but they wouldn't be highly rated. They're definitely not highly rated. They have to prove themselves here. If there is a team, though, where they have at least a decent chance, it could be Four Fence. Four Fence are good. They're the French team that we always have, right? Every season has a French team. This time, it is again Four Fence. They're decent. They're a solid team, and if anything, they've certainly upgraded over their previous iteration as well, with the roster switch ups they've had. But if they're not on form, maybe Swift stands a chance.
Yeah, I'm just checking this roster out now, so you weren't wrong. They brought in Delhi, they brought in Rons. These are big French names that have been making waves in the past couple of seasons. Obviously, Rons and Delhi having like standout performances on their teams, unlike League of Shadows and etc. But yeah, so I guess it really comes down to, what do you believe in more, Surny? Do you believe in that sort of name power from previous Prem past, or do you prefer a team that has made it way the teamly way and gone up that Div 1 as a team?
I don't know. It feels like this could also be a matter of nationality, because at the end of the day, Swift is like half Turkish, like half the team is Turkish, so it's almost like a Nations Cup match that we're looking at here in a weird roundabout way. Like probably half of the Turkish players that exist in ETF2L are currently on Swift. I think, at least, you could kind of almost argue that. But yeah, I mean, realistically, right? I think most people won't be betting against Four Fence here. Most people will probably be betting for them. They'll be looking at this and going like, okay, they have a plethora of more experience. They have the French synergy, however much you can account for that in previous years. It's been up and down, but sometimes it's helped them a little bit. And then Swift they're completely fresh into this, but they're keen. They have a lot of keen players. I mean, is as keen as they come. He's been on the up and up. He's been trying to get this team where he wants to get them going, and if he can step into a great leader role, if he can do a good job in that, then yeah, they can certainly make a splash. Maybe they can catch us off guard. Maybe they can surprise us a little bit, show us some good play here. I'm all for it. It's going to be their map first. They did pick Snakewater. So...
Yeah. Whoa, spoilers alert, Sonny. I've got the map picks and banned right here. I was going to try and twist your arm about it, but you're already ready to go. So, yeah, for all those following at home, the maps picked out were Forfence banning Product first. Swift then bans Process, and thus leaving Snakewater pick for Swift, and Forfence will pick Granary. So yeah, hearing these maps at all, I can't imagine it's going to change your mind. These are too fresh teams. They probably don't even know what their maps or their go-to maps are so far. So at least going into a week one setting, what do teams usually lean upon more in a week one of ETF2L?
Week one is where the upsets happen, right? We've already seen it this week with what was it, the CSG versus New Panther game. CSG just dropping both maps in a pretty close match, second map, mind you, but still, they dropped both maps. They got 0 points out of that, and that was a matchup that they could have won. So like week one is when upsets happen, when teams are getting dialed in with roster switch-ups and all that. I mean, I think the only team that, like every team comes to roster switch-up, the only ones that stood mostly stable are Witness and TF2 Easy. Every other team has had massive switch-ups. So it's always going to take a while to dial that in, even if you've been scrimming for weeks. It's got like officials is really where you have to get to the level where you can compete. So if there is a chance for Swift to take some rounds off of the better teams, it is in these early few weeks, and it is their chance to do it here. If they can catch Forfence off guard, if they can, show us that they are more than just we're the Prem newcomers, somebody has to be at the bottom, etc., etc. They certainly have a chance here. That's all I can give them. Realistically, I don't know if I had to predict the scoreline. We're gonna just have to see as they're making their way to mid.
They are making their way to mid. If you're just joining us, this is our week one coverage of ETF2L's Winter Showdown 6v6 2023, and we're already turning up on mid. It's Swift versus Forfence, and to start us off on this mid, Surny, I'm not really seeing too much aggression going on. Danny finally turning up, double soldier sync up, two in a kind of a U-turn, almost baiting each other out, but they land in the same spot here, Surny. Get nuked down by Bronze, easy buy one, get one free, and they'll even throw in a Demoman to boot. What a deal.
It's an absolute disaster. While all that happens, Brugman just slips in behind, completely dismantles the combo. Yimpo and Gregory both dead. It's only the scouts living, and both of them ran for their lives as well. Sneaky and Pandemic. Nothing they could really do. They were so out of position, they couldn't even try to flank behind. So they're on last, and they have to try and hold this, while there's a full Uber staring them down, trying to get into last immediately. These Frenchies, I'm pretty sure they dropped a single player on that, and yeah, they're already making their way back here, so this is gonna be a rough one. If they can hold this, I mean, it is Snakewater. If there's a holdable map, it is Snake. If they can hold this, then they certainly might have a chance coming back into this game, but this could also be a quick round for the Frenchies here. They're gonna Uber on the right side. They're gonna try to get that sentry down as soon as possible, which they do. They're gonna get a bit cap time as well, but now that Uber has faded, and no, okay, they're not actually gonna get to the point, are they? Okay, finally, some people from Swift have decided to block the point, and there you go. That's a beautiful hold.
Yeah, well, I guess that sentry gun did take up the majority of that Uber, and they threw one soldier into the mix of things, but that's like 5 versus 1 at that point, an easy game of duck hunt for them. And then I think they tried to kind of dip the other way, realizing that they lost that play so soon. Play the point, boys, play the point, and then they just got collapsed upon. So that kind of tide-turning sort of decision-making has bit them in the ass, and now it's another redo of mid.
We'll see. It actually more of a redo. It's just a free take here for Swift as well. With that full Uber in tow, Gregory did not experience any danger. They're actually going to be able to maybe even roll this Uber ad all the way to last. If they can manage to bully their way in here for free. Ron's is going to have a word with it. He's going to jump the combo. Does not manage to get anything cleaned up either, though. Yimpo Gale's gain Jason, though, doesn't get cleaned up, though. And with that, they can bully their way into second here. Take that for free as well. And if they're fast enough, they might even have this Uber ad for last. They gotta move hella quick, and they might just do it.
30% left. They could definitely milk this if they wanted to over on the Forfence squads, and they just need to keep their poor Juxta alive during all this. They've switched over rather quickly, however, and it's a good sort of turn tiding for Swift compared to what Forfence were offering. But the Uber does come out. That safety net has reared its head in here, Surny, and whether or not they can make a push out, though, is ambitious here for Forfence.
It's a notoriously difficult blast to push out of. They have some player advantage here, and they're getting some damage done as well. Swift respects them quite a lot. Sneaky going dangerously low is gonna make him retreat as well. So even more players, even more positioning, giving up. They're still fighting this for whatever reason. They have a Hail Mary bomb by EDK coming in. He lands on Deli, cannot get the kill cleaned up though. Everybody else crumples like dust as well. It's only Pandemic, and he's gonna trade himself out for Deli before finally getting cleaned up. There you go.
Yeah, the difference being there is they kept Juxa alive over on the 4 fence while Swift were kind of left without a medic, and it kind of spells a suicide squad for your team when you see your own medic down and you just desperately want to take out that other opposing mate to just get the Uber charges back to even. But they're not letting this go. They want this mid here, Surny.
They're very aggressive on Swift side here. They're immediately regressing. Even if they lost the mid, they know that they want to try to get at least a force out of the French team here, and they're putting a lot of damage on Juxa, but Juxa's holding strong. Even decides, yeah, I'll just drop Alien if I gotta. I'll just keep my Uber in tow and do this the right way, and so far so good. I mean, I guess missing a single scout, not even that big of a deal for them. They're just gonna keep bullying forward.
Oh
again,
no, Danny.
No pressure on Juxta either. Nobody's managing to get through either. They can't get the force out of him. At least they'll have an Uber for last to hold with, but not looking great for Swift. Now they have to be on last. They have to manage this hold once more. Pandemic on the sniper, trying to be cheeky. Maybe he sees if he can get a little shot off here, but Frenchies are being careful. Rons tries to speed shot his way in, gets cleaned up before he can get too far, but a bit of a Hail Mary, I suppose. Oh, Deli's gonna get caught. Okay.
Yeah, very nice pick off by Danny. I think that's usually what happens when one player dies in the opposing team. The other roamer sees it as an opportunity to get a free sort of jump in, no death punished, but he actually finds out a demo man pick. They can kind of snowball things from this point on. They just need to get their focus fire underway. EDK has bigger things on his mind though. He wants to go for that medic, and Juxta will manage to weasel his way against that attack, and Swift call it off because of that failure.
Just ever so slightly, but still, they slowed down the French team a little bit. The Sentry getting taken down is gonna make this hold even tougher. Deli's left out of the combo,
that's
at least for now. But yeah, that's half the cap already down, and now the Frenchies are coming in. They still have the Uber ready too. Oh, this is gonna be bad for Swift here. They have to use their Uber as well. Juxta's still in no position to even have to. Matter of fact, he's just gonna go out again. They're gonna bail. They got so much cap time. They got 3 frags as well.
I think they want to hold the ground maybe, but it's a bit of a tall order. Juxta will manage to get out now, Uber in tow, but I think they could fight this potentially. They've got respawners coming up. If they were like, really had the balls on the table there, they could have just Uber onto that point, stop that second cap, but they decide against it, decide to just play it slow and safe and just go for the recap instead. At the end of the day, Swift are in low numbers in that sort of repush.
It's an interesting choice there by Swift to go out and cap second instead of maybe just trying to hold on last longer, go for a round reset, because now they're going to be in a very bad position here. The Uber comes in from the Frenchies as well. They've already got so much cap time on that last. They just have to stand on the point on the side of Swift if they want to block it, but they're already down 3 players and in such bad positions while getting juggled around. Nobody on the Frenchies even went below, okay, no, some of them went below 100 HP, but only at the very tail end. That is a round for the Frenchies.
I think you're right, Surny. I think they're going to be kicking themselves and making that push out onto second point, and I think their only banking chance there was to get really nice and aggressive onto Juxta as he was backing out with just Rons there, but c'est la vie, shoulda, woulda, coulda, as we're going into a second round. They have to brush it off here, as maybe they can kind of reset things over on this mid. They just need to not occupy the same square space as before.
And they almost did it again, but not quite at the same time, at least for this time. And Sneaky's actually going to pick up the first kill into Deli. He just walks across and guns down the demo man. That's going to just shut the mid down completely for the Frenchies here. They're out of that one. Lacking your quote-unquote carry, lacking your damage there is going to make them back out to second. Danny trying to follow up maybe for a bit of bomb in second here. That's not going to happen, but then gets taken down as well. Rons trades out for Yimpo effectively. Sneaky's caught between 3 players. Gets taken down as well. It has very quickly crumbled. Even though they won the mid, they have to just run out of here. EDK has to keep Granary safe somehow. And it's doing an admirable job so far. Bruchman is going to try to catch him off, but Granary has escaped for now.
I kind of wish I had the action replay there for Surny, because it felt like a lot of pieces were moving, but I feel like maybe a bit of Save Your French syndrome was happening there. One player was dedicated in and was definitely going to die, and they just want to keep one scout or one player just around just to kind of clean up or maybe try and get him out, but did not work out. Bruchman jumping the line here. They're going in pretty dry to say they're going into last. They kind of just walk in for free, and it's completely caught Swift off guard. They've got nothing prepared, no answers really. They will pop an Uber off now, but is that an answer or is that a delay? As they will block off this point, but they're all just playing the staring contest here on last point. Everyone's getting nuked down now, and they get another round on the board. A nice cushion.
A massacre. Oh my god. Both soldiers, like Brugman and Ron's, just going in, basically spawn camping the entirety of Swift, killing 4 players before even the rest of their team arrives on last. That was an absolute massacre that I just witnessed. My god. I feel like that could almost be considered a war crime, what we just saw. It's that bad. Anyway, next mid-fight, maybe Swift can catch themselves a little bit. They did a little bit better last time. If they don't get too over-eager on this mid-fight, they could actually try to convert a round off the back of it as well. EDK goes high, lands nowhere, and for the time being, health is looking a lot better for the Frenchies here, at least for the time being.
Very defensive here over on Swift, all kind of healing up here. Go aggressive now with Rons, and buys a bit of space for his scouts and soldiers to actually cut across the point now, but they're sustaining here on Swift. It makes me wonder where the rest of the blue squad here. Delhi does push across the point now, but is absolutely being minced by the 3 focus fires of this Swift squad, and now we're just going for a rumble tumble between all these players. It's a scrim DM server right now. Ron's just entered the server, and he's left the server again. He's taken out 1 life. Everyone's so low on HP. Pandemic does turn it around with 2 HP warrior on the lab.
Brugman has more HP than both of the players on mid right now. And yeah, EDK, I guess, tried to go forward, maybe grab the pack, not expecting Brugman to be there. So basically throwing his life away. Pandemic can't contest mid because he's on 2 HP.
Right.
Yeah, that was actually like a stalemate. We're going to have a second mid fight. It's coming up right now. There you go. Both teams making their way out again. We're going to have a reset. We're going to see just again how well they can do it with no team capping mid just yet. It is essentially just 1.5 minutes of our lives faded away into nothingness. And this time around, Danny trades out for Rons. All right, it's an okay start, I suppose, but positioning-wise, the Frenchies really have to make up some ground here now if they want to have this mid. And now QB just bullying his way up there on the side, killing Sneaky, and that's what converts it. That alone.
Very nice stickies coming out from Delhi there, and I guess it's almost like you're playing house rules over a Monopoly. Everyone must go around the mid first, 1 time, and then we'll play for real. As they will actually win out on that second mid there. Swift going to be kicking themselves a little bit, as they did kind of win the tail end fight of the first mid, but now they're already pushed back to last. They have got an Uber charge in their back pocket again, but they need to be very careful about how they use it, because last time it did not save them at all.
Oh, Ron's going in for the deep nuke onto the spawn door once more. Unfortunately, this time it didn't quite work. Danny is the only player down for Swift here right now, and QB has to keep his medic buddy safe here, otherwise they would be in trouble as well. They managed to escape, though, at least for the time being. Jux is going to hang on to that Uber, even if the Frenchies couldn't quite bully their way into last for free. Oh, man, they actually have to work for it this time. What a bummer. They can't just go in there for free.
19 minutes left on the clock. Still a long time, really, in the FPS land of Snakewater. So they could make a comeback here over on Swift. They just need to... But it's just going to be hard, because I think any team worth their salt, if they really wanted to, they can channel that inner Kado and just really dig their heels into the ground, play full defenso. But it's not really the style of these Frenchies, I'm going to say.
Yeah, they tend to play quite aggressively. I'd be very surprised if they just started suddenly parking the bus with 2/3 of the map time left, as they are making their way forward. Both soldiers in deep, both of them taken down. They find Yimpo at the end of the day, but it's only a demo frag for what is now 3 players? Half your team for a demo? I do not believe that is a good trade. I think they got ripped off, and now they're going to have to contend with all the aggression coming their way. All right, Delhi does a great job just shutting down Tanny immediately. Is he going to keep the rest of the team at bay as well, though? Going to keep his scout and medic safe here. He's certainly putting down a lot of damage. EDK is in onto the medic. Can't quite get the air rocket. Juxta lives on such low HP. Sneaky can't chase either.
It's too delicious. The bait's just too delicious, Surny. I want it. I need it, says that poor Sneaky scout, but he couldn't have it. And I kind of want to wonder, where were all the shots going for Swift? I see people shooting. I see tracers in the air, but I see no healths going down for any of those 3 members on that mid for feds there. It's just a real question mark moment.
Suppressive fire, I suppose, is all they can do there. We're back on Swift's last. This is a very familiar situation. Pandemic on the heavy as well, laying down some damage here. Delhi getting taken down is gonna maybe help them a little bit with defending this here. There go Cuban Brugman as well. All right, Sneaky. He's awakened, I guess. He's finally hitting some shots. There you go. Just quick 2 to shut down this last push, and they're hanging on. I don't think either medic has used an Uber in the past, like, 7 minutes. It's been quite a while now. They're just chilling. Neither team really committing to a push fully with an Uber yet. I mean, SVIFT are in a rough spot. They can't even push out. They just have to wait on last. Wait for 4 friends to mess up even harder than they have.
The scars of yesterday dictate what happens tomorrow, Surny, and they definitely didn't want to push out there against a scout and a soldier, a lowly scout and a soldier, because of that previous first round failure they had pushing out there. When I really think they had all the right there to make the push out.
Yeah, that time it would have actually been an okay idea, but it's hard to judge in the moment. QB on the sniper now for fence here, seeing if he can make a difference in breaking the tie. And there you go, taking down his countryman on the other side. Yimpo taken out of the equation. Now the entire French team on the side there. QB lands another headshot onto Pandemic as well, and just ringing off one more onto Sneaky, because why not? The Ubers are finally used. Meanwhile, QB just kills everybody who's not in the Uber. It's only Danny.
Oh, he even gets on the Uber to save himself. Poor Danny.
Oh my God.
There's not enough rockets in the world. Oh no, it's embarrassing, and it's kind of sad state of affairs for poor SVIFT here. So, 15 minutes though, copium, it can work.
Oh yeah, no, that's 5 minutes around. That's easily doable. I am a SVIFT believer here, definitely. Oh goodness gracious.
Worst comes to worst here, Surny. This is the map pick of SVIFT as well. This is the map they felt most confident on going into the French squad with. So, but
yeah. You never know. Maybe they thought that the Frenchies would suck a lot on Snakewater, and then it turns out, nope, that's not gonna happen. As the French soldiers go high on this next mid, they land on the combo. Gregory is but a red smear on the floor, as is Yimpo and Sneaky for that matter. There goes EDK. Danny's on 7 HP. Pandemic caught in between everybody. Manages to at least get Juxta. Manages to salvage that medic frag, as Danny's a sole survivor, running for his life. Nearly eats a rocket from Brugeman as well, which would have been very, very funny. But he's gonna live for now. Unfortunately, there's very little he can do all by himself. He's gonna have to wait on his team, and with Gregory spawning first, SVIFT is actually gonna have a very slight ad. It's not gonna be much, and they won't be able to push out off of it just yet, but at least it's something.
Oh no, well, they looked a bit sheepish pushing before, but they're definitely going to be sheepish now. They lose Sneaky to a random trap here in the sort of lobby area, so I don't know. Do you like to play to win here, Surny, or do you just delay to lose, as SVIFT seem to have a tough kind of choice on their hands? Oh no, they lose Yupo again here to both of these aggressing soldiers, and it's just looking like another repeat of history. As actually no, the soldiers managed to suppress enough, and Pandemic being on heavy makes that an easy choice of a back out for the rest of full fence here, and they're gonna have that Uber charge somewhat soon.
Yeah, they're gonna have equal Ubers here. I'm noticing a lot, like these French soldiers, Rons and Brugeman, they're both so unbelievably aggressive. They will bomb in at almost every opportunity and die because of it, obviously, because they're going in so deep. But the impact they have every time is also tremendous. It is remarkable how much they are doing by just sending their bodies in. Even if they don't get kills, they get so much ground, so much damage that there's great follow-up for Delhi or the scouts to do. It's worked well for them thus far. Now that they have Ubers to work with, obviously a strategy isn't going to come into play, and we'll have to see how well SVIFT can face off against it. I mean, they're down 3 rounds, worst case. It's not even that bad for the Frenchies here if they manage to not get this push going. Well, Pandemic taking down rounds with a headshot is obviously going to slow them down a little bit, but at the end of the day, the time is in the favor of the Frenchies here. They have all the time in the world to work with now. It's on SVIFT to make a move. And if they want to sit on last for the next 3.5 minutes, could be a problem.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be soul-crushing just to see that timer tick away. I almost want to opt for, if you get a pick like that on Pandemic, you get some balls rolling, start, throwing some soldiers in, get aggressive with that sort of pick-off class and start going for those hero shots, just get things rolling. EDK, this is what I like. He's going in. He's trying to get the aggressive. They're going to follow up with Danny. Sure, he loses his life, but you kind of bring these choices forward that are losable here for fence.
Yeah, like you're at least making use of your player ads, trying to make some trades happen. At least you're doing something. At least they're not just sitting back and waiting, as Brugeman tries to do exactly the opposite of that and jump in, gets juggled. Unfortunately, Delhi gets a bit ambitious, trying to take down the Sentry, or Peek It gets taken down as well. That could actually open things up a lot for SVIFT. They don't have to worry about stickies now. They only have Rons to contend with in terms of spam. Yeah, there's a chance.
Yeah, they've even got Sneaky pushing out an engineer. Everybody, get the goalie out of the goal, into the box, as we need to. We're in crunch time right now. Bonds goes down, and again, another little small victory into the step and book of this comeback. They will exchange Ubers on second point now. It's going to look a bit dicey a little bit, because they've got those respawners coming back for fence here, but they managed to back out effectively, get those helps respawn, and they get a pick onto QB as well. Again, to keep rolling with the advantages. I like it here, Swift.
Deli's kind of almost caught out of position, manages to just barely keep himself safe before finally getting taken down by EDK, was pirouetting around. So, yeah, finally, it looks like Swift might have found a way in. Brugman has a word with it, though. Manages to slip it, get a nice shot onto Gregory. Gets one more rocket onto Sneaky before getting taken down by Yimpo, but Swift has taken second. They have lost Gregory. Now they have to get Juxta on the other side, who is now on, well, 55% and counting. It is growing, and he's got a few people protecting him. Danny's in behind, pulling a bit of a distraction at best, before finally getting cleaned up as well. So I think Swift has just delayed their inevitable demise here, solely because of Brugman being kind of sneaky and hiding a little bit. Oh, okay, never mind.
Well,
Yimpo just manages to dead at the exact right time. Beautifully done.
I mean, if you're not pushing off this, I don't know what more you need, as we've got about 11 minutes on the clock still doable. We just need to take those small victories and just imagine that the biggest victories you can hold, as they are trying to make their way. The spam, the sort of door control from fence is annoying, but they managed to find a weak dent here in the cheese area. Deli has to switch and rotate around. They've got two players going behind, though, going for that back cap, and now they have to speed it on all the way back to last. That will draw them all the way back, but they do stop the big picture lose here for Swift.
Just ever so slightly, but I feel like they threw away a chance there at actually trying to get out. They just took too long to really go off the back of that Juxta pick. Took too long to build up the confidence. And now they've lost Gregory the exact same way on the other side.
I've tasted my medicine and it hurts. I don't like it.
This is an absolute crumble for Swift here now. Yeah, everybody's dying. It's EDK and Yimpo left. They might go for a Hail Mary. EDK bombs onto the point, try to block for a second, maybe buy a little bit of time for respawners, but it's only Yimpo on last. He's got like no HP. Gregory is the only spawner. It's over. They're just delaying the cap by Ubering for the sake of BM, I suppose. 4-0 for fence now. It's looking dire for Swift fans. Swift bros, I don't think we're making this one.
It's okay. Give me enough minutes. I will find some copium in there somewhere. Well, I mean, you're going to have a very overconfident team. If anything, I would lose the last round intentionally on Swift, so they go into it 5-0, and they play so cocky going into our next map that they'll throw away the map at that point. Bam.
I would just throw away this last round to save myself 8 minutes of my life.
I mean, all good choices, all good pros and cons, and yeah, I think they're taking some of your words to heart as they're going aggressive. Everyone's brought low down on Swift, but no one really dying on the Swift squad. They've got about 200 apiece between all of them, but there's just too many scary players on that scoreboard in comparison. You don't know how much health there are, so they're deciding to back out here with the rest of Forfen's crew. Plus, I think they're already popping the champagne and like high-fiving each other back at base.
Yeah, they're content with what they've got, I suppose. It's not much to worry about. At that mid-fight as well, they killed Gregory. That was the most important pick they could have gotten. Even if Swift wins the mid, there is absolutely no way they can possibly defend it at this point. They have to get extraordinarily lucky, getting a nice little force onto Juxta here. Just somehow slip through at the exact right time. Never gonna happen. They're just gonna Uber in, actually. The Frenchies have taken the smart approach here. They're just gonna right-click into mid and clean up every little Swift rat they can find hiding. Starting with EDK, losing QB, sure, okay. Giving up some positioning as well. Matter of fact, they actually aren't gonna commit that much. I guess they lost Brugman quite early too, or Rons, so yeah, that would explain it, I suppose.
Oh, this is looking good for Swift. Potential round on the board, even, as that's the right amount of picks and the right sort of situations unfolding before them. There's no real sort of defense setup on last already. They've got finally QB now onto heavy weapons guard. They're trying to build a sentry gun, for Christ's sake. That's optimistic. There's no sticks on point. They're capping it. Brugman will kind of force out a nice Uber against them. So the Uber's looking a bit pale and stale here for Swift. But is there just enough force and player power to just throw bodies on? And there is, Surny.
Pandemic stepping up nicely for that last push there. Just playing the point so much, hitting the shots he needs to, and there you go. Swift actually put a round on the board. That's almost more than I would have expected out of them.
The journey of 1,000 miles starts with but a humble step here, Surny. But can they make the second step? That's just as important as well.
Then 2 more afterwards in the next 7 minutes. That's going to be the real question. It is mathematically possible for them to tie this up, take it to a golden cap.
He said the word, casters, he said the word. All right, okay, so another mid, another day, another dawn for Danny and company as he's kind of trying to bear space, not really committing all the way in. That is a decimating sort of aggression coming out for Forfence. They've managed to, on the bright side, take out Juxta, so they might win the war here, but... it's kind of, in the grander scheme of the war, it's actually going to be lost. But still, Pandemic managed to get out.
Yeah, at least trades on a kill onto Ron's there, so he's not completely leaving empty-handed. But the mid is won for the Frenchies, and unfortunately, that's bad if you're down 3 rounds and you have 6 minutes to convert all of them. If you're on the side of Swift, so. Unless they can somehow step up immensely here. Maybe some crit streak plays? Nope, they're still on the Uber. This would be a perfect time to try crits maybe, but they're sticking with the Uber and seeing if they can make that work, I suppose.
It is the more reliable, and if you just don't feel comfortable playing with crits, that's just the end-all be-all of it. But crits does crank it up a gear, does get the games going, moving in one direction or the other, loss or win. But they're going to play it quite steady, and maybe they're just really brushing off. Kind of talking about what went wrong on this map, thinking mentally for the next one.
Yeah, there's certainly a chance. Maybe, they didn't ban Granary, so maybe they were also confident in playing that map, knowing, the Frenchies might very well pick it. As it stands, there's very little chance they get Snakewater, especially with Ron's just doing an absolute magician act with that force onto Gregory here. Gregory tried to milk it for as much as he could, but unfortunately, eventually had to pop. Obviously, Juxta in no danger whatsoever, even just sitting back, they're down 2 soldiers, and the Frenchies are still not even giving up any of this ground. They're just sitting in Saw, waiting for Swift to make a move. Deli's just gonna walk out onto grass. He's so confident, he doesn't care. He's got a big cock. Nobody's gonna bomb him. Nobody dares. Danny tries to slip him by and gets immediately mulched. There's nothing that these Swift players can do. These Swifties, I'm sorry, they're going to last.
Alright, Big Dick Energy going into last 100% Uber as they are popping off finally right now, and Sneaky is going to be caught on the... actually manages just to weasel out of things. They're getting so much time on the cap point as well. Bruce, and you keep them locked down in the other door. It's 5 rounds on the board for the Forfence squad, and I don't think we do any more sort of difference of 5, so that should be it for our first map here on our week 1 game, Swift versus Forfence, and Forfence already kind of making things sweaty for Swift, losing out on their map pick.
Yeah, at least they put a round on the board. That's something, I guess. You can commend them for that in the slightest at the very least.
But it's not just a round that they're taking lessons away here as well.
Of
and
course. What
lessons do you think they have taken away from this? What lessons could you sort of decipher from this first map?
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, in general, it's tough to say because I think across the board, Forfence is just a better team. They're better at almost every step of the way, even if just marginally. But that little margin is enough; it adds up in every aspect, and then they end up beating out Swift. Obviously, Bruchman and Rons are an insanely well coordinated duo. Their bombs were tremendous. The impact both of those soldiers have had, that entire map was insane. If they, on the side of Swift, if they can somehow shut down both of those soldiers, which is tough to do because that's 2 players, but if they can somehow shut them down even just a little bit on Granary, which is an even more soldier-friendly map, they might have a chance. I feel like those were, Bruchman and Rons were doing a lot of the work for Forfence there. They were carrying a lot. Deli was kind of just cleaning up after them, which is why his stats are also insanely good. But yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm trying to think back to the decisions that really bit them, and it would be stuff
obviously,
like certain push outs.
Out of last is tough, yeah.
So they could maybe lean a bit more onto those sort of round resets if they really wanted to make a roundabout, easy kind of change in the lineup. These are the sort of changes that you could make during the game as well, and have them have practical effects. There's not many times you can kind of change everybody's coordination or little sort of micronisms of what players do. and things like that. That's less more for your top 3 teams and all this, but these are teams that are more aiming for that top 4. And yeah, maybe just kind of playing a bit more. We're even winning it, definitely, or we're not winning it when it comes to these push-outs, is the decisions need to make going into Granary. And Granary kind of leans a bit more on that, because it's hard to, again, push out on Granary.
Yeah, it's not as tough as Snakewater, but it's certainly not on the easy side of the maps in the rotation either.
Yeah, if you're going from that second to mid, though, that's usually the connector that kills you, because it feels like people joke that it's the 7-cap map, as it's just such a long map between those points.
Recently updated a little bit, I believe. At least this door and choke looks a lot taller than it used to, and so does the little side entrance to garage as well. They're both a little bit taller. They are a bit larger, so maybe that has an impact. I don't know. I can't possibly theorycraft every single bomb that you can now do that was harder to pull off before, but it's certainly going to be easy to get through those doors when they're a lot taller. A lot harder to lock them down as easily. Maybe that's going to allow you to get into mid a little bit easier. Either way, yeah, Granary is going to be interesting as well, just for me, because I hate to say it, but Rons and Bruggeman are so much better of a soldier duo right now anyway than Danny and EDK. They're just so much more in sync. They're having so much more impact. And just off the soldier diff alone, that could make a lot of things happen for Forfence here. I would argue in the scout matchup, like Pandemic and Sneaky are somewhat evenly matched with the other scouts on the other side, Alien and QB. They're evenly matched. We haven't really seen anything crazy out of any of them, but I would argue that's like Swift's kind of like, I guess, ace up the sleeve. The problem is it's not a scout map. It's Granary.
I'm trying to lean back to more times that victories they had on Swift, and whether or not they can just keep recapturing the magic. And a lot of those were like mid victories from a back of a deli kill or something like that. So maybe it might lean into that perhaps. Because it's Granary, they could start, once you got that sort of early lead, you can kind of grind it down to a whole play that slow game as well. So if they can come out almost with a sort of 1D strategy that kind of catches Forfence off guard going into mid, and then just keep sailing away that 1 round difference, make them play a bit more attuned to mistakes than they've been doing on Snakewater, that I could see as their strategy there. But again, you're right. We are kind of clutching at straws a bit. It is almost feels like you want to just go with what's written on paper here, and the players are kind of astoundingly out pedigreeing the poor squad. So it's only these sweeping team changes or sort of strategy changes I can see it in the bag for Swift. Also, this is the map pick. This is the map pick as well for the Forfence squad. I want to see what magic they have planned for this map.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted to play it, so evidently they might have some stuff up their sleeves as well, which again they don't really necessarily need. They are just pretty much beating Swift on every front beyond that. But it's gonna be interesting. I mean, if Swift can turn it around here, if they can clean up their play, if they can get a bit more in sync, if they can get better focus and all that stuff, right? It's like there's a little bit lacking on every front, as you would expect with a newer team, with a fresher team that's obviously new to Prem and stuff. That's bound to happen. Naturally, like, we're not talking about like a top Prem team here, right? We're not talking about Witness that have been playing together at an extremely high level for years and years and years, that obviously have like an insanely clean play. They almost make no mistakes. Yeah, Swift are gonna make mistakes here, and if they can learn from them, fair enough. This wasn't the team that they necessarily had a great chance of beating, but if they can take something out of it, so be it. I'm certainly that's going to take them forward, at least in some capacity. And hey, if they can get another round off of them, maybe a bit of a confidence boost. Who knows?
Going into Granary, and we've talked a little bit about the map changes here, but apart from it being a soldier map, is there any sort of other shenanigans we might be installed for on this map? Are we going to see those sort of snipers that were popping off a little bit from QB and all that, or is it just not that kind of map?
I think Sniper is less impactful on Granary overall. I mean, you see it less often because of it, but there's just not as many crazy sightlines. It's like you have to peek a lot deeper, a lot more aggressively, like into yard or second. Like you almost have nothing, and then like you can defensively snipe on last, sure, but by the time you can actually shoot people, they're already on last, right? You actually have to hit good shots. So I don't think we're going to be seeing that much, as the mid seems to have gone underway. They're already there, and they're already fighting, and soldiers are flying all over the place. Are they going to land their shots? Deli gets destroyed by EDK. On the other side, though, Runs and Bruchman do some damage as well. They find Juxta. Crucially, it's Danny and Gregory left. Make it just Gregory, who has run for his life and is not being chased currently. It looks like Danny bought him just a little bit of time to get out of there, and, well, he's going to hang on to that 50%. So they're going to have that even if they lost the mid.
All right, that was actually okay between both teams. It could, honestly, depending on like how certain rockets landed and how certain shots were fired, it could have been a very different story between these two teams and that mid. And both team medics got wiped out. Gregory did lose his life first, so he obviously gets his overcharge a bit earlier, and they should know this. So this is their way back into the game for this. But they're not going to give it away for free over on full fence. They're holding that yard area, but they managed to actually come out the other door and pressure them out from the big door area. Rotating again now, so if they're quick enough, they can get out into this mid 4-3.
And they look like they want to make their way in there. Bruchman doing a bit of damage. Runs with a high bomb as well. Manages to pick up Danny. There goes Sneaky as well, but they traded out for both of the soldiers, so it's still pretty even on either side. EDK kind of caught in a bad spot, but will not get cleaned up. They only got to deal with his QB behind. Everybody else is in front of them.
No, they're going to block midpoint though, because they've got a scout behind, and you know what that means, baby. It's time for a nice back cap. Says QB. He does have two champions to fight off against over on that second point, but he's got the second point. It's his point now, as we'll draw back a couple of eyes. QB, even gets the kill onto Sneaky as well. Gets into that sort of stairway area. Will go down for the cause, but put a massive dent in the plans of Swift, and the Swift train is still coming. Choo-choo, all aboard, Surny. I hope you got your ticket.
Yeah, that's the mistake that's gonna bite you. You let one couple of players slip through, and there you go. Now you're on the back foot. Now they're trying to hold last. At least the Ubers are equal, but losing Danny there as well. They didn't even manage to retake second either. So this is actually going to be quite tough for Swift. Rons is already in deep, as he does. And he manages to even slip out and live. Bruchman just jumps into a heavy and somehow takes so long to die that in the meantime, all the French players have jumped on the point and capped it.
I think Swift have been spoiled a bit from this Division 1, because everyone is they're playing a strand of TF2 that they're not used to. Full fence, like Rons will push in a door. He will face a demo man if he thinks like he can take him on and all this. And they're taking these challenging fights. You know what I mean? Getting out of these situations that on paper shouldn't be happening because they're never really tested. Everyone respects the paper, but not for fence. They don't respect anything about this team, it feels.
Yeah, I feel like they've just like completely realized they're in a dominant position here, Swift. Maybe also respecting Forfence ever so slightly too much. Maybe they're doubting their own abilities a little bit. But, you know, seeing Bruchman just jump a heavy for free and almost kill him kind of spells doom. That being said, this mid is going okay for them.
Yeah, they got to get that scout though. Yeah, the soldiers kind of the soldiers will take care of themselves, I assure you. In these late game mid points, they are pretty poo, as the scouts will reign supreme here. And yeah, they do have some players caught behind, but I'm not sure if they can really do much over on Rons and company.
Yeah, Rons is kind of just behind, being a bit of a nuisance. If he can get a pick off here, so be it. If not, well, he was basically caught for dead anyway. As on the other end, you have Pandemic and EDK being a little bit aggressive. Maybe we're trying to see if they could get the cap off, but ultimately there's too many spawners, so they're just going to back out again. But at the very least, for the first time in a while, and for the first time this map, Swift are in the driver's seat. I say as they all feed through a single door and die.
What are they doing? What are they doing?
What did I just see?
Why? Just why? You see the demo man. You see he's putting up sticky. You know the rest of the team all came up at the same time. Oh, okay.
Like lambs to the slaughter. It's unbelievable. It was.
It's okay, Surny. Lessons have been learned. The hardest lessons are the best learned lessons, and that was a very hard lesson for them to take. Swift, I think, feeling themselves a little bit, realizing that, you know, they were in the winning position. They don't want to stop at that doorway. They pop nice and early over on 4 fence now. They have a level 1 sentry gun to deal with, but not really a factor. They've already taken out this heavy weapons guy, and they just need to play it slow and steady from here. Although the blob is kind of absorbing it for the rest of Swift. There we go. Bruchman comes back in now. It's kind of a collective state and who can make the first sort of pick off of these squads, and I think QB will be the one to show overextension there. Goes down. down, but it's a glimmer of hope here in this sort of huge situation that Swift put themselves in.
They managed to hold on to it just ever so slightly. I think the blob really did it there, because you saw Danny disconnect from the blob of his team for but like maybe half a second, and he instantly got mulched. Speaking of, he just traded himself out for Brugeman. Once more, no soldiers on either side. EDK is going to spawn though, and Swift really trying to get this point, but Deli's just going to lay down more damage. QB's taken down. QB's on last as well, so he's going to just pull back some aggression, distract EDK at least for a little bit. Now he's just gonna run. Okay, I thought he was gonna run after the combo for a second. I would have actually not been surprised if he had. But they're just gonna play it safe. They're gonna play it slow. They know they have Uber here. They know they're attacking. They're up around as well. Deli's just gonna jump in deep. Is he gonna div Yimbo? Yes, he does. He's gonna also escape the heavy just ever so slightly. And it's looking like a pretty good push for the Frenchies so far. No Ubers used yet on either side, which is quite surprising. There's so much cap time already as well, but they're not going to commit anymore. They've realized they've lost too much manpower. And Swift, again, they're rearing immediately to get back out here, but it's such a tough choice, and then you lose Sneaky like that.
No.
Danny too!
Well, I mean, they've got the real forces to push out with, however. I think both teams are just spreading themselves a little bit thin on things. I think if they kind of like decide to like, right, we're going to collapse on this section or this map or this player, then they could kind of focus a bit more, but everyone's just kind of trading out and making these long 2 HP warrior plays, and oh no, a force out and bad position coming out for Granary there. Will kind of get a rocket rained upon him, and now they're trying to pick up the pieces of a bad Uber, and they will push out now, hoping they can punish this overextension, but they managed to weasel back out again for Swift, and they're licking their wounds here, Surny, but it could have been a cut deeper.
Yeah, this is again Swift just not making enough impact that they would have needed there. Now a full Uber coming out of the French side. Pandemic going for a Hail Mary snipe. Unfortunately, can't hit anything. The Uber comes in. Deli gets sent into the skybox, manages to crater, so he's going to be the first casualty of this last hold. Surprisingly, but the frags are slowly falling in the favor of 4 Fence. They have the positioning, perhaps. They have a bit of bad time. Pandemic, Gimbo, and Sneaky holding it down, though. I
think they could actually have played that over on the Chariot Scout squad, but they were a bit scared. They're maybe worried about those respawners coming in, because that is a lot of HP to chew through as a scout before those respawners will come back in. So instead, they play the easier play, which is backing out, getting that Uber charge up and ready, and following the calls of your squad. You've got to keep in mind, you've got some very big voices over on the combo or the heavier classes over on 4 Fence. They're probably going to be shouting those 2 scouts, back, back, back. What is back in French?
I do not know. I do not know a single French word that isn't baguette, unfortunately. So I'm not suited for this position. Unfortunately for Swift, though, throughout that first push, they got Granary killed, and now the Uber comes in once more with the ad. There goes Granary once more. So even if they botch this push somehow, some way Danny were to salvage that one, they would have had the advantage afterwards. But that doesn't even come to play, because the Frenchies just clean it up nicely, make it 2-0. At the very least, it's not as quick of a roll this time around. However, we're 2 rounds down, and there's still 21 minutes left. So we could be here for a while.
It was a good Uber. They got everybody in, they got everybody collapsed over on top of Swift there. Credit to Swift, I'm not sure if there's much you could have done at that point. Maybe get these sentry guns, get these snipers, get these things that kind of deter a bit more on these last points, but C'est la vie is going to another mid. It was kind of a chaos roll the previous couple of times now, and I want to keep my eyes on what all these soldiers are doing. 4 Fence kind of opting to hold the mid ground a bit more, while Swift, I guess, just end up dodging out any sort of aggression that happens in this corner. Sure, they get 1 player, but the big picture, nice little rocket from Brugeman there, but all for naught is when the dust settles, it's another Swift min.
Yeah, somehow, some way, even with losing Gregory early, like having no healing for most of that, I guess they're just better DM at the end of the day.
I think it's the old medic problem on mid. If you get that medic, it can be like, oh yes guys, I've got the medic, but you're left with all the players with guns, and they just shoot you down, and then even if you have a medic, he gets chased out all the way from Granary and gets killed off anyway, and the other medic respawns. So it's almost like you can't lose that. Like, look at the Uber advantages now. Like, they are, I mean, it's still kind of even, to be honest, but it was going a bit further for Gregory at the start there.
Yeah, and just now we're back in equal situation. Swift wins the mid once more, and if they don't decide to feed 5 of their players into stickies and pipes to Garage this time, they might actually have a chance at converting around off the back of it. I'm sure they've learned their lesson. They will never walk through that door in Garage ever again.
I'm trying to be on their side, okay? I like some of these players, but I don't know what they were thinking there. But it's okay. New day, new dawn. It's more of a traditional Granary stalemate at this point, where they have to try to find the picks here. And I think your best bet I've seen on this map is just getting a nice sort of soldier bomb onto Juxta, pie in the sky, pencil from Comet all the way in.
Yeah, if they can manage to pull that off. I mean, EDK's in position. Rearing to go probably as well, but he's being looked at. He's being looked down, stared down by the scouts. So it's a bit respectful of those French scouts. They do manage to have some work be done sometimes. And look at that, they've cleared the stickies off of the door in Garage, so maybe they can be a bit more aggressive. And they're actually just gonna Uber in. All right, catch Deli out immediately.
This
Uber
is not
comes
bad.
out of the counter here as well. Yeah, but it's a good exchange for now for Swift. It's on the post-Uber fight, and with no Deli on the French side, there's actually a good chance for them to take second here.
Yeah, so you've got a demo man advantage at this point. You've got the superior fire. You just need to blob them up into a circle and ram into their circle at this point. But he's going to be back to the world of living soon, and Deli will kind of take away that option for them now. But no, they lose Danny.
Oh well. That's
they
how
might
Danny
lose EDK as well. He's all lonesome on himself. He forgot he's playing a soldier class. Oh no, that class is poo. They're chasing, puncturing all the way from behind. They keep the going. Rougeman once more. That medic is
so
low.
close.
Ron smells him. He finds him. He gets him.
What a fadeaway rocket, just surgically placed right in there, beautifully done.
Oh, Lemon, one by one. EDK, it's your turn. He's like, nah, man, I'm out.
Not doing that. Not committing to that one anymore. It all comes falling down. It's a house of cards. You know, you pull away one little card, one thing goes wrong for Swift, it all comes crashing down immediately. And now they're back on their own last again. And yeah, this Rube Goldberg machine of Swift collapsing has led to an Uber advantage for Forfence once more.
Okay, so we've got a sniper, we've got a level 2 sentry gun, and they do have to deal with that. We're rotating Gregory around. They managed to keep him in a healthy spot, so this is good. And they've actually got some players out in the thing. They've got the second point. They're going to hold this here on Swift. It was a much healthier last defense, and they could make a push out here, definitely.
Yeah, if they're in any way ambitious here to actually try and win. Again, they're only down 2 rounds to 17 minutes. That's more than enough time. Surely.
I would keep pushing. Keep pushing.
Yeah, keep this going.
Everybody doesn't need to high five at the point. Look, there you go. You see the medic. You know where he is. Keep going, my boys.
Yeah, they can even take this forward into mid a little bit. They have a tiny bit of an ad. It's not much, but if they move fast enough, they could actually catch these French players off guard. Unfortunately, it looks like they've slowed down a little bit. Never mind.
Greedy over on Forfence. They want to get the flank instead, but they're playing the flank well. They're holding the doors and giving them the rope to choke themselves with. Well, there we go. I like it. They're playing small bites out of Forfence here. It's a shame about Deli will get those, finds the right stickies at the right place at the right time. But they've got Uber. Wait, where was this Uber charge? How come they haven't popped it out yet?
Yeah, it took so long. Now Juxta has his own, is going to respond with it. Obviously, it's going to be better for Forfence.
Well,
and they're going to actually chase this down. Pandemic might very well get caught here. Yes, he does. And now it's going to be Bruchman going high, just landing on something. Everybody's getting mulched. They go EDK and Sneaky. It's Gregory and Gimpo making a run for it as Danny meets up back with his remaining players here, but they're just getting chased back. Gimpo might actually get caught here as well if he's not careful. Okay, he does live for the time being, but Danny's going to try for going for the Hail Mary. He manages to get Deli at the very least before getting cleaned up. It's still not that good.
They just need to defend the point. Oh,
they have respawners, but the respawners have to get there in time, and they won't.
It's not good, Surny. It's not good. But what can you do? Sometimes your demo man just gets caught out like that. Man, that's got to hurt. They had the Uber advantage going into that midpoint. They kind of have to go into a mindset of like, we're going to be using this, we should be using this, especially from the positioning or the sort of motivational wants of what Forfence want to hold on to that mid 4, kind of punish them that way. But I think they just got a bit distracted between all these little picks and attempts by Rons and all that, and just going for the small bites. But I think, yeah, whilst it was good, they could have gone for big bites too.
Yeah, and they didn't, and that's what ended up biting them. Oh, a beautiful kill there onto Juxta by EDK. But is it going to be enough for them to win the mid on the side of Swift as well? Not in terms of positioning or the fight, but crucially, they did keep Granary alive. And Pandemic and Jimpo are both escorting that medic back to second for the time being. So that is something to play off of. They might have not won the mid fight just yet, but they're certainly going to be in a great position in the post fight. If they can deal with a little rat by the name of QB who has already made his way all the way up into Lunchbox. EDK is going to meet him, and he's going to kill him. Okay, thank God.
This is like another repeat of their attempt from before. They had the same sort of thing. They have an Uber charge, and oh no, they lose Devilman immediately. Rons even follows up as well, but that is a lot of people traded for this sort of midpoint, so they will get the mid, but they won't probably keep pushing with it like they were hoping to.
Yeah, they've definitely been stunted in their movement here. There's no denying it. Frenchies have slowed them down just enough to be able to hold onto Yard here. Oh.
Flashbacks.
No, okay. Danny's realized he should not step through that door ever so slightly, so he's gonna keep it slow. Even it sucks to see that Uber advantage fade away, unfortunately, but yeah, they weren't really in a great position to use it on the side of Swift, so
they're learning the lessons here. I'm more than happy for these guys to just take it slow. 30 minutes can be a long time, and they can try and find their footing a little bit. But
it's like an AI machine learning algorithm in play. They've made the mistake of walking through garage, so they won't do it again. That being said, Ron's is going to trade out for Danny. And on the other side, they find a kill onto Deli for EDK. So, yeah, it's looking okay. Never mind, there goes Sneaky, but it's still looking okay for Swift if they can keep at least their Uber alive here and put themselves in a position where an exchange potentially doesn't completely destroy them. Maybe get Yimpo out of there. Nope, he's going to be caught. So they have to give up mid, but at least they didn't lose. They didn't lose their Uber. So there is that. They're going to be able to maybe regress if they so desire.
Tough situation. I think just the way the chips fell down there, I think it would have been a feel bad situation all around. They could punish Brewersman here, kind of overextended themselves. Oh no, actually manages to reconnect with his team. Nice. A little kind of healing being put out there. It's just the things that are kind of getting in for free. Seems like the dice rolls are just rolling a bit more for offense from that skill department, as whilst every time they roll the dice here, they come up with fat snake eyes for Swift.
Oh, there's a bit of luck involved in that as well. Depends on what strategy you're going for. But yeah, this 4-fence combo is still so deep on the far side of Yard here. They're actually just gonna go through Z. Okay, they're just want to walk on the point, get the Uber out, I guess. It's gonna be a bit better for Juxta at the end of the day because he hasn't had to flash as much. Gonna reconnect with his team as well, and they're actually gonna get out. Bruchwood in the meantime has slipped in behind, manages to get the kill to Granary too, and trade out for Pandemic. What's up with these French soldiers? What are they putting in the tap water over there?
That was a really strange situation, really. I've never seen an Uber exchange between two teams where one really desperately wants to hold on to Yar. It could have been tempting for them just to start capping off second point there over on 4th fence right under their noses, but they decided against it, go and take the aggressive Uber and reconnect back to their flank. Bit weird saying, but they are on last now, over on the Swift. They've got a sentry gun, they got the sniper up. They've made these defenses on last actually look pretty good. Out of all. These are the strongest aspect that they've shown as a team so far. So if there's any sort of recipe for them to come back into this, it's off the back of a good defense.
If there's one stat that Swift spec'd into really hard, it's holding last. Maybe by necessity, maybe just by random luck. They're gonna have to try and do it now as well, as the Uber has faded for the French team. They've gotten half the cap point already, but no frags at all. They're actually losing players on their side. Beautifully done yet again, Swift. Yeah, they've really just spec'd fully into last holds here, and it's been working fine for them so far. That being said, they are still down 3 rounds, and they have to actually push out now with 10 minutes left. We're starting to get just ever so slightly tighter on time. Rons is still behind as well, manages to slip in. Does so much damage to everybody. I'm actually surprised he didn't get a kill. My goodness.
It was all in on that medic there, and I don't care if he got 100 damage or 1,000 damage. If he didn't get that med pick, it was not a win in Ron's eyes, as you have got a little pick advantage. Again, repeating history there. I wonder if they can, realize that they can go aggressive with this Uber if need be.
Meanwhile, Gregory's kind of just standing back completely, leaving his team to do all the work, but I guess off the back of the Uber, they can work with it very well. And there you go. They're going to take mid and keep moving it forward as well. They're going to actually use
that's
it
an
into
early
second
pop.
tier. All right, that's a very ambitious one. Juxta is in no position to be dying here, but they're finding frags on the other side. All right, yeah, they're getting something going. They just have to keep it rolling.
Yeah, I was just hoping that they could maybe keep chasing with that. They have got a couple of players on the death counter for fence, but they kind of just playing it a bit sheepishly now. I think just after like some of the situations that have fallen upon them, and Uber coming out very early. Uber, I guess, successful here for EDK. Maybe more on Juxta there. Just really wanted to keep his team alive, or just really doesn't want to throw the game. So playing things super safe.
Yeah, very, very fair. EDK does an admirable job getting that Uber force out of there. Unfortunately, they lost both of their soldiers for it, so Swift are in no position to really defend as well on this midpoint either. I mean, they've managed to grab Bruchman on the other side, but that's all they've really got. Sneaky's kind of caught in as well now. I mean, that's kind of his job. Okay, he finds runs. Yeah, maybe he's not stuck in there with them. They're stuck in there with him. Because he's kind of just fragging right now. He's gonna keep holding W because it's been working, and these Frenchies have to retreat.
I thought Sneaky would have got a big fat flank then, but yeah, it was looking pretty good. I bet Sneaky had to beg his team, like send a post request form. Please, team, may you formally enter the midpoint.
I could really use a hand right here.
As per my last email, enter the mid.
And they did, and now they're actually trying to enter second as well. Unfortunately, EDK is going to get picked up by Bruchman on the flank, so it's going to slow down Swift ever so slightly, and QB is going down, drop down. Absolutely nobody's there either looking at it. Maybe Sneaky will,
Sneaky's watching it.
Sneaky's
good boy, Sneaky.
All right.
But Pandemic's going to get blindsided still because they're making a reconnector sort of flank at the same time as that nice little kind of play. I'm not sure if it was intentional from Forfence there, but they synced up the sort of flank attack with the sort of drop down play. Now they're down a couple of players. Demoman to boot as well against Swift, and they want to hold the mid instead. This is an ambitious kind of Uber exchange really for any squad. Without your Demoman like this, and oh no, they are going to be locked at this doorway, and they're minced as well. That was not the call in my opinion, Surny.
Yeah, they should have gotten out couple seconds sooner. If they had gotten out just a few seconds sooner, they would have probably made it out to yard and been able to maybe have a post fight here. Yimpo managing to pick up Dilly with a trap might slow down Forfence ever so slightly, but that's gonna sting. That Uber just milking it for a little bit too long. Ron's ambitious. Yimpo again, nice little trap to take him down. So maybe Frenchie's getting a bit over ambitious right now. Maybe just overstaying their welcome ever so slightly. Swift are still in this. They still have a chance, but they have to really pick up the pace now. Not just convert this round, but 2 more in just under 7 minutes, which is a very tall order, especially on Granary.
Yeah, this is it's a hard situation because obviously they want to play a very certain way at this stage of the game, and it completely goes against the antithesis of what you need to do to get back in the game as a whole. So Danny will, if you could call that force, I think it's more just an aggressive Uber from Juxta and company, and they're chasing all the way. They get the Demoman kill as well. They're still going with the Deli. I mean, I guess if one Demoman goes down, you need to have your manners about you and go down as well. They will get the force finally out of Gregory and get that second cap, but they just could recap it here over on Swift if they wanted to.
Yeah, and they definitely should if they want to have a chance of staying in this. Unfortunately, QB and Brueggemann are such massive chads that they are projecting so much power across the point. Nobody even dares to stand on it. Finally, they're standing on the very corner that cannot be spammed as easily, but it's not enough. They can't quite cap it off yet.
Oh, Deli pick.
Okay. Deli pick, there's a Brueggemann pick as well. Alright, maybe, just maybe they're actually edging their way into this. Are they going to be able to finally cap off the second point? Yes, they are. That's forward spawners denied as well for the Frenchies. Kind of crucial on this map.
Scared of the Uber.
That is the problem.
Fons wants to take the Uber. What a man. What a chad. As he's looking through connector. Doesn't quite see any easy sort of Uber exchange into this. Zebersize foaming at the mouth. Please take this fat pocket Uber. Come on, I want to see it. But they have their own Uber charge now, and I think they could probably have taken a fight a couple of seconds earlier, just before Deli arrived. But c'est la vie, as they're just going to wait for things, play it slow, as they're pushing from ramp room here.
Yeah, Frenchies are going to go for the wrap over from the top. They're just going to send in both soldiers. There's one frag onto EDK already. There's the other soldier taken down as well. Almost no damage sustained for the Frenchies here. They're just going to bully their way in for free. There's Pandemic taken down. No Uber to be used. This is an absolute disaster for Swift. They have to use Gregory, just gets bombed. Juxta isn't, no, doesn't even have to counter pop. Sneaky is spread thin. He's like butter on a piece of toast. He doesn't know where to go. It's all melting away right before them. Finally, there's cap time coming around as well. Some respawners are here, but there's absolutely no chance with everybody being Ubered on the French side. They are finally taken down. There's the fourth round for Forfence.
All right, I've been told, Surny, I'm a positive person. I try and look at the bright side of things, but with 4 minutes left on the clock, 4 rounds down, and some of these decisions, I think the Fat Lady is singing. She's singing, and she's playing the encore right now. That's how long she's been singing for.
Well, 4 rounds in 4 minutes. Is that possible?
No, it is not possible. We can throw out the mathematical word now.
Well, maybe they figure out a way to quantum tunnel to the last point, and then maybe, just maybe, get another round going. But it's gonna be playing for, I suppose, for bragging rights of any kind now on the side of Swift, if they want to pick up a round or not. So far, so good, I suppose. The mid could go either way. Both medics are dead, no healing, and HP-wise, it is looking a bit better for, maybe just a bit better for Swift. It depends, I suppose. Smiley's still around, he's still overhealed, and yeah, he's gonna take down everybody. So it's a 1 mid for Forfence once more. I'm pretty sure that's the final nail in the coffin for Swift at this point.
Alright, Surny, so obviously those were our 2 games. And our first impressions of these 2 teams. Any sort of takeaways yourself from watching all of this?
Forfence looking really solid. This might be the best French team iteration we've had in a few seasons. I think it's pretty safe to say. Like, there's always been a French team, but you know, the quality has always been, it's always been waning and waxing. It's always different. I think this is the best French Prem team iteration we've had in a while, and they're not to be taken lightly, especially as they get more warmed up and into the season now as well. They're gonna be dangerous. They're gonna be dangerous, and I feel like especially the not top teams like CSG and Lupanzer, they gotta look out, because they could very easily slip up against this French team.
Yeah, I think they've also got that bit of spice about them, where they will make these unconventional plays, and they do actually follow through and work out as well. Like some of these, we saw a couple of dry pushes, a couple of sort of smaller little plays that I can't really like paint the picture for you. You have to rewind the tape, but I see the magic that's been here. The Dark Horse rearing his head in, and Swift.
Oh my God! What a beautiful bomb in by Rons. That's just nasty. Lands directly in front of Gregory, just deletes him from the game.
As for Swift, I think it's a week 1. You know, if there's any team that's going to like struggle at the start of things and kind of get everybody into sort of a synced up situation, it's going to be the very first week, especially because you've got new things. You've got the dynamic, like you said, has changed with Mac departing as well. And yeah, I think they can only take really good lessons from a map like this, because it was competitive as well. The worst kind is if you had those sort of officials where you get absolutely rolled over. There's no challenge, there's no sort of stay or hold or victories or any bits that you can kind of shine or tell the difference apart in. And Swift can very much look at this map and make Swift improvements. Hey,
that's a good one. You know, like, even though they like score-wise got rolled, and probably if we're looking at the logs, numbers-wise probably got rolled as well, they still put up a fight. They weren't all doom and gloom, right? They had moments where they looked very solid. Their last holds are very good. If they can just work off of that, you know, you've got the skill tree.
Their basic core elements. Yeah, you're right. Of that last hold, they have played TF2. They know the steps that have to be made for a good last hold. Some of the decision makings are the most offensive ones. Like that's the one that makes me want to kind of spit after my sentences. But these can change, and it could be like just down to, I guess, the philosophy of some of these players and what they can think they can pull off or get away with. Plus, it's the chaos of officials as well. You know, it's been a while. Winter has been long, and the ETF2L season has finally come. And these players are probably used to playing pickups and not actually following calls.
Isn't it ironic how this is called the winter season, even though it's literally March now and winter is over?
Don't question ETF2L. Don't question.
I wouldn't. Oh no, I would never. I would never. It's just kind of. kind of funny.
What do you call it? What do you want to
Anyway,
call it? The wet season rather than like the winter
I
season?
don't know, call it maybe spring season because it's gonna run until the middle of May. Maybe just I don't know. I'm stupid. Maybe I shouldn't make these calls.
ETF2L never make mistakes. How dare you? Anyway, I don't want to look at and dedicate these logs really for much of time because they look a bit. Maybe a little shout out. Sneaky was having like a bit of a performance. I could see he was like making things happen and having nice pickoffs, little turnabout plays in the lad as well. That demo man, Yupo really suffering a bit more on this map, getting caught out a bit.
Yeah, but
Especially
it's tough for him as well. He's like, not only is he new to Prem, he went straight up from Div 2. He didn't even play a single damn game in Div 1, went straight to Prem after placing second in Div 2 last season. So
plus you got a person like Rons who's just like looks you in the eye and like you can't hold this door by yourself, and he pushes you. You're like, what kind of animal pushes a door like that?
It's a rough debut. You're getting put through the ringer in this one. You're getting the full force quite immediately. But it's obviously not over for Swift. They have a great chance coming up in the coming weeks against Natty Newt, which is the other completely newcomer team to Prem, right? So that's going to be a match to look out for. If they're going to have a great chance at actually winning something, it's going to be against them. As far as Forfans are concerned, well, and let me look at what they've got coming up. You know, let me look at their next matches. Next up, they're going to be going up against Natty Newt next week. Okay, Forfans are going to just roll through both of the bottom Prem teams in the first 2 weeks.
Whoa, slow down here, slow down. These sounds like wonderful words, but we could maybe put this in a podcast form.
True. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Yeah, and I know what you're thinking. We're not going to give you the product away for free. You have to turn up. You have to go to our fully charged podcast that's going to be showing up. I think it's tomorrow. I've got the time somewhere. Yeah, about tomorrow. Keep your eye on TFTV. We've got all your
around this time.
Yeah, cast and crew and friends all just kind of nerding out about our first week, what's going to be happening in the second week. And this should be a regular thing as well. So finally, you've got a podcast here that you can tune into and is actually manned by an absolute psychopath. So, yeah, well, that's always a rare thing in TF2.
A twisted psychopath. Crazy.
All right. Let's cap this off with a bow here, Surny. Have you got any more sort of concerns or shout-outs before we say goodbye to the nice boys and girls?
I got absolutely nothing to add. Just let the big brains discuss all the happenings of not just this week but also the upcoming week on the podcast. And yeah, that's gonna be for them to decide. I'm just here to say when somebody does a bad play, just to point it out and make them feel bad.
Amen. All right. Well, if you're just joining us, this has been our coverage of ETF2L Winter 2023 Week 1. It was Forfans versus Swift that you just missed out on, but don't worry, you can always catch the VOD here on Twitch. We'll probably even upload it to YouTube in the next 3 years or so. And we've also got our fully charged podcast. And I remind you again tomorrow that if you want to catch up on all the Week 1 happenings and all the bonus in between as well. I've been TurboTabs. Joining me has been Surny. It's been a pleasure as always. A big shout out to our girl Kim Samus Amaterasu, as it has been a great sort of production she's put on to show you this wonderful game. Otherwise, that's been us, and we'll see you more for the next week. Week 2, baby. Let's go. ETF2L Winter 2023. All right.
See ya.